Oh. So they have to do it from my photos?
Well, some of them, they have some like this one I already have in there, like that little earth jump.
Okay, hold on, because I got some cool.
Yeah, go ahead. You got to show us. I mean, you a Fenty model. Yeah.
Oh, I could do like a photo of myself. That's funny. I was gonna do some kind of. I was gonna do a different background.
Look, I got this one of me right here.
This is funny. Okay, hold on. Let's see if I can do a photo of something. Let's see. See, but I have pictures of like everybody else in my phone because of photography as well.
I know we're gonna talk about that. I want to talk about it all.
Oh look, this is so cool. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yo, this is dope.
Commercial model. That's why we got you on. We got to talk about this commercial modeling and acting life, man.
Oh my gosh, yo, this is freaking dope. I'm gonna be on Zoom all day now.
All right. Now you got all types of tools.
You just put me on game. Well, so does this go with like the paid version of Zoom, or can you do this in the free version of Zoom too?
You asking the wrong one.
Okay.
Because
I've got the free version. I'd assume you have the paid version.
No, this is very much free.
Oh, then we can do it on this is free. This is so dope.
Free, so. Yeah, this is I don't do the paid version unless, I mean, what they say, I think the paid version you can't record. You can only record up to 4 people for like an hour or something like that on the free version, but I haven't gotten to that point yet.
Got you.
Soon we'll make it a business expense.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, I want to introduce you. We got Michaela Duerson. Did I pronounce that right?
You didn't do too bad. It's Duerson.
Duerson.
Yeah, like do-er.
Duerson.
Yes.
And you come
like I do things.
You do things.
Yeah.
You do a lot of things. You got the goings on.
So, oh, thanks.
We met on set. At the Nationwide shoot?
Yes.
Here in Columbus, Ohio, as models and actors for diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think.
Yes. Get those diversity checks.
Those diversity shots. So that was pretty cool. That's when we met each other and we got to learn about each other's background a little bit. You're out of Chicago. Correct?
Yeah, that's where I'm from, but I live in Indy.
Okay. Yeah. And then just tell us a little bit more about yourself. Model, actor, photographer, influencer.
Yeah. My name is Michaela. Nice to meet everybody. And what's today? Sunday? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yep. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Really? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Sorry, I had to do that. I'm like, really? So in 4 days, I'll be 32.
Okay. Happy early birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I like you said, I'm a model, actress, and photographer. I started modeling technically when I was like 5. I did an ad for Cellular One and McDonald's. And then my mom put me in gymnastics. And I was so mad, but I'm not a quitter. So I did gymnastics all the way until I injured completely out, like completely. I had like hyperextended my knee and ripped all the ligaments away from my left kneecap. I had arthritis in my lower back. I had broken an arm. I'm sure I sustained some concussions. And then I had a very high... Yes, in gymnastics. I competed internationally, and then I had a very high ankle sprain, and that's what took my career out. They were like,
"Those is painful."
Yeah, they were like, "You should have just broke it. Yeah. Like, if you would have broke it, you could still do stuff." But they were like, "Nah." So I was like, an ankle sprain took me out. So then I did all-star cheerleading in high school. I cheered one semester at this university I went to Tennessee State. Go Tigers. And then after that...
What'd you study in college?
I studied sports journalism.
Dope.
I wanted to be on ESPN.
ESPN.
Yeah, sports journalism.
Help me with athletes and cannabis. Are you a writer?
Yes, I am. very much so. I actually used to write for, there's a couple blogs in Chicago I used to write for like 7 years ago. So I haven't written in a while, but I have the gift of gab. That was actually my hustle on campus. I guaranteed an A. So I would write people's essays for $50, guaranteed A. And nobody ever asked for their money back. It got me through college. Sorry, whoever's listening. I don't know if it's probably like a lack of integrity that I used to do that, but I was in college. We was getting food from the Dollar Tree. I was making it happen. Hustle. Yeah.
I mean, and the college is a lack of integrity, period, because they
yes, because I'm still paying for it. Yeah, so I studied sports journalism. My minor was in American Sign Language, and then I got a certificate in theater. Nice. But kind of like a lot of people our age and our generation, I did not have the luxury of finishing school because my tuition was more than $30,000 a year, and I didn't have anything other than like maybe a $1,200 Pell Grant.
Wow.
So I went as far as I could until I saw like how much my loans were getting to, like going into my third year, and I was like, "Whew, we're gonna do this later because this is a lot."
Yeah.
And so I got into corporate America. I rocked it there. I was sales and marketing director for Direct Buy, the home improvement and home furnishing club. Okay. And I just killed it in that atmosphere for like years. I didn't really think I would ever do sales, but it just came natural.
You could talk.
And then, yeah, I can talk. I can talk. And if it's something I believe in, like I can definitely persuade people to believe in it as well. And I really did believe in their concept. So long story short, I was sitting at my desk one day and I was like, I never said I wanted to be a sales and marketing director. Like when I was 5 and people were like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I never said like sales and marketing director, like ever. Like I never said that. I used to say 2 things. I used to say I wanted to be a model and I wanted to take over Jet and Ebony.
Dope.
And I don't know where that came from. Like who says that? What 5-year-old goes, take over Jet? Take over Jet and Ebony. To me, it wasn't even like a position. It was like a thing I wanted to do.
Right.
It's just take it over. So I don't know what that looks like. That could be me on the cover. That could be, revamping them. That could be turning them into a TV network. Because Jet and Ebony, like, we don't hear from them a whole lot.
I think Jet might be for sale. I heard one of them is for sale for sure.
Yeah, the Johnson family, they did some things with it. So I don't know exactly what's going on there. I know they had like some shifts and some changes, but Jet Beauty of the Week, I used to like as a little girl, I wanted to be her so bad. I think it was like page 64 or something in the book. Like I used to know the page number. Like probably like mostly men knew that page number, but I knew that page number. Right. I was like, I want to be Jet Beauty of the Week. I think it was either like 56 or 64. But like, yeah.
I definitely remember those magazines and looking at the Beauty of the Week, but I definitely, as a young boy, right, it's like, oh, they got the bikini model. Like, oh, this.
Yeah.
It's like the only black magazine, too, that you see in all black people. I mean, you seeing black cigarette ads and all types of stuff. So, to think that we're in this predicament now and we don't even see that magazine is like very disheartening, kind of like.
It is. It deserves a strong comeback. Yeah. And the thing is, if they came back now, they would for sure sell out. Yeah. Just off top.
Right.
Just off top. Yeah. So that's what I wanted. And so somebody found me, or some Twitter stranger, somebody that followed me on Twitter told me to enter a model search. I entered, I almost won. They flew me to New York. And then after that, like I just couldn't let it go. And I left my corporate job. I told my parents I had this 10-year plan. Mind you, my manager at my corporate job told me that my whole modeling dream, this thing's kind of a distraction in the office. Maybe we shouldn't talk about it so much. Yeah. And it was like, at that moment, I was like, I'm out of here. I'm done with you. Yeah, like, I'm done. So, yeah, so I moved back in with my parents. That's why I'm in Indiana. I humbled myself because I had that. For me, that was the feasible way to do it, because Gabrielle Union, what I remember reading about her was she was 20 when she started like modeling and acting. She had a degree in sociology. She started working for an acting and modeling agency just as like the front desk girl or something. Okay. And somebody was just like, you should be on camera. So she ended up being in Bring It On, but she was like 30 in Bring It On.
Right.
So I was 23 at the time. And I was like, you know what? Like, it took her 10 years. I can do this in 10 years. I can for sure do this in 10 years.
Right.
And so I am entering into the 9th year of my 10-year plan. I have modeled for Savage X Fenty. I'm a partner with them right now. I've done Finish Line. I got to do Nike and Adidas through Finish Line and a couple different UK brands. I walked Fashion Week.
I saw that.
I'm signed with the best plus size agency in the States, the longest standing, Dorothy Combs Models. Yeah, and I've done, tons of commercial stuff, Delta Faucets, Nationwide, Walmart, pharmaceutical pays that money. So
I already know.
Shout out to pharmaceutical. Yes. Yeah. And some voiceover stuff. Like I say, like, member FDIC at the end of the voice stuff on the radio. So
that voiceover too, you getting that? Yeah,
it's been fruitful.
This is why I got you on the show.
Yeah, it's been fruitful. But when we met, we ended up talking about concussions and stuff. I do remember that.
Yeah, because your uncle, right?
Yeah, my uncle played for the Bears, and he died in 2011. It was February 17th, 2011, maybe, of concussions. He self-inflicted wound and had us donate his brain. And that's when they found like more definitive evidence about CTE. And I believe he passed away after Mike Webster. And I want to say before Junior Seau.
Okay.
Yeah. So kind of sandwiched in between those big events.
Right.
And then yeah, everybody started looking into concussions and like what this actually means and what it actually looks like.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk about it. I played football starting at 6-7 years old all the way to 23 when I tried out for the NFL. And I don't think concussions became a thing that we really talked about until maybe my sophomore, junior year of college.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we know nothing about the brain. Like,
right. Well, just even
really
normally we don't study it, right? Like even like with weed and cannabis and how that interacts, and like we just don't talk about the brain, and then especially our community being Black, like it's like, we just think we just doing things and we never talk about the power of the brain and how it impacts our decision making and all these different things. And we got all this trauma going on, all these things going on, but we never consult our brain. And so I actually, right before I had you on, I had one of my friends who's a mental health specialist, he does like peer consultations and stuff like that. And we talk about it because he's a Black man. And obviously as Black men, we don't talk about it because talking about mental health or therapy,
or feelings or crying,
anything emotional, just talking about it though, because you'll see football players and basketball players crying all the time when you lose a game, when you get hurt or something like that. But it's not put into the context of overall health and well-being and how these things are helping us or hurting us. And so just in the context, even you being a Black woman in the spaces that you're in,
you're supposed to be strong.
Got to be strong.
That's a compliment, right? That's a compliment everybody gives us. You're so strong and you're so brave.
Right. Yeah. Like what does that mean? Yeah.
So like you can endure this and you can be embarrassed because you are strong and you are brave. Like, no, why don't you just treat me right?
Treat me right. Yeah. Treat me fairly. But we won't go into that because I want to talk to you about, obviously, being a plus size woman, but leading, the charge, for young women in the space that you're in, because obviously being a Black woman as a model and an actor, you are one in few. And then to break in how you're breaking in and changing the game. How has that been for you? Is that something that you always, obviously you said you had your 10-year plan, but did you see it kind of panning out how it's panning out where you would be maybe a leader in some of this stuff?
Oh, wow. Thanks. No, I didn't see this or see that.
Right.
I didn't see leadership. I've always been a leader. But like, I'm the leader. My pastor would probably say this about me. I'm the leader that, you know, like when you were in school and you had group projects, and like I'm the leader that would know I'm supposed to lead in the group project, but I would let somebody else take the lead because I don't want all that responsibility. Like real talk, like I can literally see a situation and be like, I know I'm supposed to be leading here, but I'm gonna let somebody else take the lead. And what ends up happening is I just end up being clutch. Right. So like the leader will just be like, you know, like chicken with their head cut off, running all over the place. And I'd be like, here, hold on. Like, you need this. Right. And they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, and I never needed the notoriety, like, oh, Michaela helped me, or like Michaela led us or nothing. I just like, for me, I can literally see a situation that I can lead in, and I'm cool letting somebody else take the lead. And I know they're going, like, I can already see what's going to end up being needed in that space. Right. And I'll just be ready when it's time. Right. So when it comes to the modeling industry, I kind of feel the same way. Like I help with an initiative called Models for Change Now. And we've got a website, modelsforchangenow.org. Okay. And it's a collective of over 200 of the industry's heaviest hitting Black models and allies. Dope. And I'm cool letting like the work and the movement speak for itself. Right. But yeah, really all I want to do is travel the world and have my picture taken and wear braids and then like settle down, have a family and everything one day. So no, I didn't see myself leading. I think that's the first time I've heard someone say I'm leading in the industry.
I mean, because well, from my perspective, you are. I mean, taking the initiative to be confident, to be bold, and to lead in a lot of different ways. You're not just taking pictures. You're an actor. You're a voiceover actor. You know, where you have some girls that say the same thing. I just want to take pictures and be pretty and be on the beach somewhere, but they're not doing the other things. You know, like how many Instagram models do we see that aren't getting paid and aren't doing the real things? But they think they're doing the real things. You know what I mean? So it's like, from my perspective, you're hustling. Like, you're not just saying, I'm gonna just pose for Fenty. I'm gonna go be a commercial model. I'm gonna be in a healthcare ad. I'm going to do all these. I'm gonna be a photographer. So now I'm not just, one thing. Now I could take pictures for other people. And then how do you like help other people get into the career? Because where we come from, we don't have exposure. Everybody's not just coming up to every little Black girl or Black boy like, oh, you should be a model. That's kind of my story too. I was at a party and Omarosa was there and she saw me.
What party were you at?
Well, I'm from DC, so both of my parents, so you get put in a lot of different situations.
That sounds dope.
Yeah, so I had no idea who she was at the time, and I think she was just modeling. But we were at like a friend's birthday party that my parents knew, and she was there, and she basically told my parents that I should go sign up with her model agency, which was Linda Townsend at the time. And so, I did. I played saxophone. I was a teen, so I played like saxophone and stuff like that. All I really had was athletics. I played sports. But then I ended up doing some small stuff, but I couldn't really do much because of sports. And then I got booked for The Wire, being like a drug runner or whatever. It was when Michael B. Jordan was around. And I decided I wasn't going to do it because I didn't want to be the stereotypical Black actor at that time. And I knew in my mind, even as a teenager, what that could do for me, right? Playing a drug dealer on TV as a kid, how you get pegged in these things.
Good for you for having that foresight.
Yeah, I don't know how, honestly, I really don't know how I decided, because both of my parents loved The Wire. My mom was kind of pissed that I didn't take the job. But I had like a JV football game and I was the quarterback. And I was like, I'm not missing my game to be a drug runner. And so that was one of my first times. And I did a couple like, educational ads and stuff like that. But I didn't do anything until that Nationwide ad was one of the first things I did, becoming a model again, right? But our community, we're not exposed to this industry. You know what I mean? Again.
And not in a proper way either, right? Like there's several, for women and men, there's several I like to call them guys with cameras.
Oh yeah.
And the guy with the camera usually wants you to shoot like, scantily clad, yada, yada, yada. I've been victim of guys with cameras like in the beginning of my career, just not knowing better.
Right.
Not knowing anything, but having this deep desire to be what I've always wanted to be.
Right.
And so kind of you go through this period of unbridled ambition, right? So like if you picture like the bridle that's like on a horse, like that's to help control it. Like the horse has all this power, but if it's unbridled, it can be unruly, it can be wild, it can be unpredictable, it can be dangerous.
Right, for sure.
And so in the beginning, I had this unbridled ambition, and unbridled ambition led me to these places where I'm like shooting with a guy with a camera. And like, the images are not industry standard. They're more, I guess you could call them art.
Right.
Right? We can loosely call that art, but
I mean, art is.
But a lot of women do fall victim. I remember being on campus and hearing about other girls who fell victim to this guy with a camera. Like, nah, that's not. So we do need more people in the industry willing to share the information. And if you find a way to make money off of what you're sharing, then great. Right. But I think like we should never be so focused on making money that we miss what's in just helping somebody else out. Right. So yeah, I'm always open to give information and look over somebody's contract and give my professional opinion on someone going into the industry. They can always slide in the DMs.
Slide in her DMs.
Yeah, if you got questions. Yes, respectfully. It's okay if you slide in disrespectfully. My block list is like 2K long. Like I would probably have 2,000 more followers. Legit, I block all disrespect. I don't even address it.
I mean, that's the best way to be, right? Like, why even waste the energy or the brain power? Dealing with the ignorance. No, but I love that, and that's what I've seen. Being a man, like, I come in with things a little bit differently, but I've heard so many women and friends in particular that have dealt with the same issues that you're talking about. And, obviously it's one of those industries that it's like, oh, I got to get in. So the only way I could get in is with this guy or with this. And it's, that's kind of why I back away from the industry too, because it's just like, it's filled with filth, right? It's filled with, this, I mean, you look at Hollywood and what's gone on there with all these women and you're like, yo, they are literally taking advantage of teenage girls all out of this ideology of she wants to be a star, so she'll do anything to be a star, and there's no barriers, right? And it's, but there's no also like accountability, because now you got these mega guys who own these corporations, and they are the gatekeepers. If they say one bad thing about you to anybody, your career is over because the networks are so, infused and they know a guy.
I do think that's changing though, like with the uproar of just content, and then you got all the places where you can house your content. You have the Urban Movie Channel, you've got Netflix, you've got Amazon, you have all these spaces, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, where you can put your stuff out there and get paid for it. Right. So like the gatekeepers, I mean, they're getting old, so they'll just die off. Their mindset might not die off because they might have instilled that into like some kind of protege. They've been bringing up some perverted protege up under them. Right. But I do think money magnifies what's already in your heart. Yeah. So like a person that's good, when they get more money, they'll do more good. Right. And so I do think the prescription for that is just for us to like continue doing what we're doing. Like you keep grinding, like you keep doing your podcast, you keep, creating and doing what you're doing, and like those dollars, they're gonna flow in, and then we'll be in a position where like we'll have the answers and we'll have the financial backing and the influence where we could help diminish some of that. But yeah, guys go through it too. I had a guy friend, gosh, I feel so bad for him. Like he was really taken advantage of by this guy who was pretending to be one of the agencies I'm signed with. And I was like, that's not one of the agents at the agency. Like, that's not their email. Like, that's not legit. And they just kept asking him for photos, and they were clothed photos, but they wanted his print to be prominent.
Wow.
And they kept saying that in the emails. I'm like, bruh,
Yeah.
this ain't right. Like, this ain't it. I'm sorry. And I felt so, I'm like, you know, I feel like that really strikes a man's pride too. Like,
Oh, for sure.
for a woman, we're unfortunately, I feel like for the most part, we're kind of used to, like catcalling and sexualization and being taken advantage of to a certain extent.
I think
Which we,
guys get it, but we take pride in it almost, right? Like it kind
yeah, but for a guy to get duped by another like guy, like, oh
of, yeah,
Jesus, man, Gerald, I felt so bad for him.
yeah. I feel bad for him. I don't even know him.
I felt bad. Like, no, agencies don't want to see you in your Netflix and chill fit. They don't want to see your gray sweatpant imprint.
Yo,
Oh,
yo.
I wanted to like
Wild.
really hurt the person that did that to him.
Yeah, that's wild. But that just goes to show, all of the stuff that can go on because you have again all these people that want to be in the industry, want to get their pictures taken, and you see the money, you see the opportunity, you see the fame, whatever you are looking for. Yeah, it's great opportunity. I mean, I've had great opportunities, but all of my opportunities have come from literally like even when I was modeling, I just reached out to the casting agent. I didn't even have an agent. I think when I did nationwide, I just reached out to
I think it was Carmen, right?
Carmen. Yeah,
How did you find? I love Carmen. Shout out to Carmen
Carmen,
Dan.
dope. Carmen's super dope.
She's so dope. She got all the style too.
Oh yeah, super swagged up.
All the style.
So I met her like literally. I was like, I had quit my job. I was working for Verizon doing corporate. I was just like, man, I can't do this. It was after trying out for the NFL. So I was thinking about, career plays and career moves and how could I make money? I had just started being an entrepreneur. So what did that look like? And I was like, well, shit, I modeled and acted before, and so I had looked up agencies here in Columbus and we only had like 2 or 3.
2, 3.
Yeah. And I was like, what? I was like, how is this a main city and you only have 3 agencies? I was like, that is insane to me. So then I was just like, something in me just said, look up casting agents. And then I found Carmen and I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I did some modeling acting before, but, she was like, give me some shots. And I think she got me on like 3 shoots in like the matter of a few months. So then,
yeah.
So then I was like, well, I guess I could get an agency. So then I signed with Heyman. So I've been signed with Heyman for a while, but I haven't really done anything. I've been lazy, taking care of kids and stuff. But
that's not lazy. That's hard work.
Very hard work. Very hard work.
And being a husband, that's all hard work. Like your priorities are straight.
Yeah. So it's, it's kind of that process of, just doing it. Because I knew the money was there too. Like I knew the opportunities was there. I knew being a Black man, like I could get specific gigs. And so, yeah, I met Carmen, just reached out to her. And I mean, we've become friends now. I trained her for a while, doing some physical training, personal training. But yeah, I just saw that opportunity and coming from the East Coast, I'm from the East Coast. So it's like, obviously being in DC, you see all these different advertising agencies, modeling agencies and everything. So me, it was a perspective of looking at the industry. I started something called Columbus Creates, which was essentially, I was around a bunch of creatives. I was around a bunch of photographers, models, like amateur people trying to get on, but nobody knew what they were doing. Like nobody like was building any type of real platform. Nobody was going to find an agent or find somebody to help them get out there. And so for me, like I'm a design Columbus Creates, which will be a platform that I could showcase like amateur models, right? I could showcase amateur artists or photographers or whatever, because I realized there was such a gap in the whole of just people even understanding how to get in, how to break in, where to go to, or, you need support still. Where's the magazines? Where are the platforms that are celebrating people that have work ethic and have a drive, but they may not be polished. They may not be, and so I started seeing all those things. And so I was like, I'm gonna create this platform and just let it build right over time. So, I mean, we got like 50 something thousand uses of the Columbus Creates hashtag, and it's been around for like 3 years. So if you go on that, like you'll see all different models, makeup artists, photographers, videographers, local businesses, like it's crazy, but there's no like centralized network. We're not Chicago. We're not New York City. We're not DC, but you still have a lot of major corporations here. So all the major corporations, look at Nationwide. They brought you in from Indiana. They brought people in from Chicago. And I'm like, you got all this talent right here in your city, and you're not using it. You know, we're bringing in photographers from out of state. You're bringing in producers from out of state. And you're the third largest fashion industry in the country, but you don't have any agencies. You don't have any. And I was like, my mind was blown. So
yeah, up until the pandemic, a lot of people didn't know, but Lane Bryant was housed in Columbus. Victoria's Secret in Columbus.
L Brands.
Like L Brands, yep, in Columbus. DSW in Columbus. And these are their corporate headquarters in Columbus. They fly the girls in from New York and they shoot in Columbus. So yeah, a lot of people don't realize, you know, I think it's on the businesses, but it's also kind of on the locals as well. Like,
oh, for sure.
You know, like even in Indy, it took me a while before I realized, I was like, oh wait, Adidas their corporate is here? Wow. Like I didn't know until I booked it. Then like when I booked Delta Faucet, I'm like, this is their worldwide location in Indiana? Like it's here? Like, yeah, all that's here. People fly in from all over the world to come to this corporate office.
Yep.
It's like, oh, have no idea. Like the Midwest is like busting out the seams with opportunity and fresh fruit, but we just kind of, my pastor calls it, there's a spirit of mediocrity.
Oh, wow. I'm so thankful you just said that. Wow.
He said there's a spirit of mediocrity over Indianapolis. And I think it might be over several Midwest cities, but there is. And I think it also has to do with our cost of living. Like $50K a year, I can live like a king.
Yeah.
I can have a 5-bedroom. Like I can live like a king. Like you can't really do that anywhere else. And I think that's where that kind of mediocrity, that spirit comes in, and it kind of disguises itself as contentment when it's like
conservative.
Nah, like, yeah, like I'm guilty of this. I probably operate at my 70 or 80% majority of the time. Probably a little less than that too. Like I'm probably operating at like 67% or something. And everyone else perceives it as like 110.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not operating at my 110. Like y'all ain't seen my 110.
You ain't seen it yet.
Y'all ain't seen it. Cause I'm about to take a nap. Like when we get over this, I'm gonna take a nap. Like you have not seen me operate at my 110. But again,
you're just starting too. You're still learning. You're still growing.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, yeah, I'm just kind of just starting. But I also am like, I recognize that there's this spirit of mediocrity, and I'm guilty of like taking it to my advantage.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it that way. You know, obviously being from the East Coast, being DC, like you got the New York state of mind, and DC is a much more like sophisticated, you know, kind of thing. So then going to OU and being successful in sports, you don't really see it. And then I moved to Columbus, and I was like, wow, you people are slow.
They call it Slow Ohio, and I love Ohio. I used to live in Ohio.
Ohio,
but they do call it Slow Ohio. Like I moved from Chicago to Cincinnati my senior year of high school, and I did one. Well, it was like my junior year, the middle of my junior year, and I did 1 year of high school there.
Okay.
The music, even like I remember they were playing songs on the radio in Cincy as like hot new music.
Right.
And it had been playing in Chicago like a whole year before, like a summer before. But in Ohio, that was the hot new music. So I used to beg my friends in Chicago to like let me know what they hear on the radio there so I can go look for it online, because we were literally a year behind in music in Cincy. And they had no idea. Like, oh God, it was crazy. Like they were listening to like Lupe Fiasco, like 2 years after like Kick Push came out, like it, but they were mind blown by the music. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting frustrated.
Right. This
I'm
is old.
Somewhere else.
This is old. Oh my. Well, again, like, yeah, I'd be like, Ohio's like 10 years behind the East Coast. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yo, y'all still doing this? You know, my wife gets mad at me because she's from Ohio. She's from Zanesville. She's from a small town in Zanesville. So we clash on that point because she's like, you know, she bleeds Ohio. You know what I mean? So here I am being a little city boy talking trash. I'm just like, man, y'all got to get with the program. I'm trying to make y'all better. That's it. Like, I'm critiquing
Yeah.
y'all because y'all could be better. Y'all
Yeah.
mediocre. Y'all mediocre right now. Okay.
Yeah. And your mediocre is great though. Like the
It is
cost of living, all that's great. I do think there's, well, I know there's tons of greatness in the Midwest. I'm a Midwest girl.
Yeah.
And I think that like
They
even
don't
places
celebrate
like,
it enough.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
like
And that's what it is. So even places like Ohio or like Indiana, what I notice what happens is, so like Chicago knows what it has, that's great.
Right.
New York knows what it has, that's great. Right. DC knows what it has, that's great. LA knows what it has, that's great. Dallas knows what it has, that's great. Cincinnati, Columbus, Indianapolis, they don't know what they have, right, that's great. Like they have great things, they don't know they have it. And right, so because they don't recognize or know that they have it, besides they don't, it's user error, right? It's they're not using it correctly. It's like having an iPhone, right, forever and never using AirDrop. Right. And being like, oh, I could have sent stuff like that. Right. Or I actually just learned, did you know that when you, are you an iPhone user?
No, but I'm a techie, so I know a lot.
Okay. All right.
I work for Verizon. I got a Google Pixel because my camera is probably way better than the iPhone camera.
Well, I'm about to drop something on a lot of people who probably don't know this. I just learned it off a TikTok video. Did you know the Apple on the back of an iPhone actually has button functionality? Yes.
Is this a new one or?
I think it might be for all of them. I know it's for mine. I've got an 11.
Oh, wow.
And so you can go in your settings and there's something in the settings called back tap. And it's literally for that Apple on the back. Oh. And you can set that Apple to do like one of like 15 different things. And you can do it off of 2 taps and 3 taps. So you can set it for 2 different things.
Look at you Apple.
I know. But I've had this, it's been in my hand.
Right.
I did not know I could do that with it. So I say all that to say, like, everybody from Ohio and Indiana that I know is going to listen to this, we are not bashing you. We are just saying that we are transplants in your cities, and we know you have more than what you give it credit for and more than what you capable of.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I love it here, you know, besides all the, you know, it being a red state.
I swear it's real racist around these parts. I've been called a nigger hella times. I've been all kinds of stupid niggers in Indiana.
That's crazy. Well, me too. I had to start learning the history of the Midwest. I didn't know.
KKK.
All right, KKK. You look at like the state of Ohio was a free state, but they were bringing slaves over the border to do the work. You know what I mean? So it's like
I've seen 2 KKK rallies in my lifetime. In person.
In person?
Both of them were in Ohio. One was when I was 9 in Columbus, Ohio. We were there for a gymnastics meet, and the KKK were having a rally outside of is it the Reds?
Red Stadium?
Yeah, because my dad, like, we were like exploring. We went to like see Shamu, and we were gonna go see like the Michael Jackson stuff at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Then we were gonna go to a baseball game, and when we got ready to go to that baseball game, KKK was out there. My parents were like, we turn around.
That's wild.
So that was the first rally I saw. And then the Nazis and KKK, which I believe they're the same people, they did a rally downtown Cincinnati my senior year in high school. Because there's a huge Jewish community in Cincinnati. Mm. And so the Nazis down there, the neo-Nazis were trying to make a point, I guess.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you feel it too. I mean, being from the East Coast, I definitely feel it. We lived in Upper Arlington, which is a predominantly white, upper middle class neighborhood, older, and, you know, again, all white, money. And I got called a nigger walking down the street with my son. And I'm like, this was like 3 years ago, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, but then, so now I'm a part of a project where the school, Upper Arlington High School, public school, they just built a $400 million school, actually sits on a land that was owned by a Black man. And then he had a cemetery on the lot Well, they put a parking lot over that cemetery, and that cemetery is still there.
Wow.
So they're doing a dig right now, an archaeological dig. So the first part of the dig, they dug up like 6 grave sites, and they had like they had body parts in all 3 of those sites, or they had body parts 3 out of the 6 sites. But they still have about half an acre of land to dig. And so you got to think, this is an all-white community.
So disrespectful.
And I got a meeting on Thursday, talking about, how are we going to pay respects to this man? And it's like, but then again, like, I was the only Black man a part of this whole project. So had I not even been there, there would have been no Black male representation.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it's just crazy to see that, all of this history, there's a lot of history here in the Midwest when it comes to race, when it comes to how our country has been created and all these things. And so as Black people, it's like, yo, if we don't start, understanding the power of our history and telling our stories, it will forever be washed away, wiped away, and we
have to stop being scared of the man with the wallet.
Yeah.
I am not scared of the white man. I ain't scared of the white woman. Like, I got to a point, seeing what happened to George Floyd, watching his murder, I could not care less about the modeling industry.
Yeah.
Respectfully. Like, I could not care less, because my dad is the same size and stature as George Floyd. My dad might be a little taller. So that means they would recognize him as a little more threatening.
Right.
So when it came down to it, and that's what Models for Change Now, that's really what it's all about.
Is that a new organization? Or
y'all gonna hear from us? Yeah. And you model, like, you should definitely join us.
I'll join.
Just go to modelsforchangenow.org. And I can send you Models for Change Now, the Instagram.
Okay.
But yeah, it's Models for Change Now.
FOR, or is it?
Yeah, FOR. Everything's spelled out correctly.
Okay.
And working on legislation, got some senators in our pocket, like really looking to make some things happen and get some policy written as it goes for being Black in America, being brown in America, being disenfranchised in America. The images that we see, these McGraw-Hill books that we learn from.
McGraw-Hill is based in Columbus, Ohio.
How many Black positive representations did I get to see reading through McGraw-Hill books growing up?
Yeah.
How many who's writing the articles in those books? What do they look like? I've always been a person that considers the source, and I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
I've always considered the source. And as I look back, I'm like, who's writing those books? Who's telling these stories? I've always been curious to see. Then this is like off of modeling and acting, but but it still has to do with representation and imagery. Because that's what we do, right? Like,
at the end of the day, that's what modeling and acting is.
I'm a proponent. Yeah, I'm a proponent of the imagery you see. Like, I represent something visually, and but it's the visuals tell the story that they want you to believe. They want you to buy into.
Yeah.
Right. They want you to buy into whatever story they're telling. And so I've always wondered what the police trainings look like.
Right.
Not what they're being told, what they look like. So even if it's just clip art. So imagine just like a clip art graphic of like a traffic stop. Something simple like that.
Right.
And it's just stick figure drawings or whatever, but it's black and white, so they're shaded in. I've always wondered, like, is the little stick figures like head shaded in so it's like a dark person? Like, I've always wondered what that imagery actually entails throughout all of their training. Like, or like the internal training videos they have. Like, I've always wondered what that imagery looks like. And I can almost guarantee, at least up until maybe the last 5-7 years of diversity and inclusion, if they had training videos, I highly doubt if even 3% of those training videos had a Black female officer depicted. doing the stop. For what? Why would we do that? That's not what we all look like.
Right.
So yeah, man, it's been amazing. One thing that we've done though, I've done in particular, and I know a couple other Black models are doing, we're becoming unapologetic with our hair.
Mm-hmm.
And so up until maybe a year ago, I wouldn't wear my hair braided because clients don't understand braids.
Right.
They think it's ghetto or it's too edgy or it's not commercial. I've been told that. But I finally got to a point where I was like, look, you're using my image because you want to market to what you believe I represent. You want to market to Black women because Black women buy the most. Well, we wear our hair in braids.
Right.
I'm wearing my hair braided to work. Period.
I love that.
And it's a gamble. It's a gamble because you run the risk of clients not booking you. But I want to encourage every aspiring model on here that if you desire to wear your hair in a protective style so it doesn't break off and it can just grow out and be fabulous, wear your braids because Delta Faucet booked me with braids. Like their next international thing, I'm in there with braids and beads. And at first they were questioning the beads and they're like, just wear it back in a bun. And then I was on set and they were like, can you take it down? Can you, we actually kind of like how the beads look by the faucet. Can you like lean forward? I was like, oh, y'all trying to go viral. Like, y'all trying to do something around here. So yes, wear your hair the way you want to. And that's been like, even for Black men too.
Yeah.
Like y'all being able to grow your hair out and wear it comfortably like that and not have to keep it faded a certain way or not get a part if you wanted a part or not get a design if you want a design or, you know, there's been all of this policing of our existence, just period. You talk too loud. Your clothes too tight. Mm-hmm. Your clothes too baggy. Your hair's too big. Yeah. You know, like all these things policing our existence and like we just want to be.
Right. We just want to.
And so, yeah, if there's anything I'm leading in the industry, I'm just leading being.
Well, I love that. And I think that's important too when we come to the modeling and acting thing, because it's still like, yes, you're playing a role, you're playing a part, but you're still bringing who you are to that role and that part, right? So you do, like you said, if you're representing our culture and you know what the culture is, you have power to tell these folks who are the producers, who aren't from our community, because and that's a lot of things. I'm like, we need more media people. We need more, you know, behind the scenes, you know, marketing executives and directors, because, you know, yes, you can want to look, but don't be coming after me and not understanding what our culture is in its totality and then telling me what to do with who I am or how to wear my hair in a certain way. And I mean, I got that from, you know, I went to private school, 3rd grade, 4th grade, all the way through high school, you know, so I basically had to wear a clean cut haircut always. That private school was like, you know, if you had dreads, it had to be real clean. Everything had to be real clean cut. But what I come from was just always kind of clean, faded or whatever. But I started to see that unapologetic, like, yo, I'm gonna be me fully, because I was in this white community where I'm like, yo, y'all don't give a fuck about us, period. Because first of all, there's
period.
Like, if you gonna tell me I'm 30 years old, me and my wife, both college educated, and we can live in this community and we can make it to this point, but we have to be exceptional. My wife is a news anchor. Right? My wife is on TV in front of hundreds of thousands of people a day. So that's why y'all accept us here. I'm a college football player, former NFL player. That's why y'all accepting us here. If I was just a regular anybody, I wouldn't have been a coach at your high school. I wouldn't have been accepted to work at your businesses and be around your kids. But since you can grab on and leech on to what I have and who I am, you know, it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable. And so I had started working in different organizations. I'm like, yo, this is like, we're not present. And so I was like, I have to go full force. And
the one that's present is the one that they deem as the respectable nigga.
Right. And you got to think, right? Like, of course, everything that I say is counteractive to what they're saying, or whatever I'm saying is way too disruptive, right? You know. So when the whole like Black Lives Matter things was happening, I was like, I was a part of an organization called Equal UA, Equal Up Arlington, which basically was trying to bring equality and bringing awareness to diversity, equity, and inclusion in this community. But of course, this was the first organization of its type. So you got a bunch of white ladies, pushing this narrative of diversity, equity, and inclusion, whether it's Black people, people of color, LGBTQ, all of these issues. So of course, there started being a lot of pushback. And then, you have a lot of these white nationalists, kind of like undercover people in this community that starts following us on our social media handles and stuff like that. So I had somebody follow me, and I had put, they need to tear down the statue of Christopher Columbus in front of the city hall. You got a big ass statue of Christopher Columbus in your city hall. Obviously the city's named Columbus, and you don't think this racist stuff, Black Lives Matter. So again, like a month later, they ended up taking it down, but somebody took a screenshot of that and was like, this man is trying to destroy our country. And I was like, yo, what are you talking about? I was like, yo,
but you know what? Yes, we are, rightfully so. If your country, if what you identify as your country to be a misogynistic, divide and conquer, get what we want by any means necessary, you don't matter, your family don't matter, your life don't matter. All that matters is me and my incredible whiteness.
Yeah.
Then we're trying to destroy that because it's not right.
Yeah.
It's not right. Like, then that probably needs to be destroyed.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Yeah. I
feel like we put respectfully on the end of everything. It makes it sound better.
Hey, it's all out of respect. Like, again, mediocrity. I want y'all to be better. How can you be better? How can you be better when as a culture, you put Black people on stuff, what happens? It sells, doesn't it?
And they can't deny that. They cannot deny, but that was the reason they brought us here, right? We've always been a means to a stronger bottom line.
There is no America without Black people. Like
we've always been a means to a stronger bottom line.
But it's the ideology, it's the ignorance, for me that, and it's in our country is plagued with the ignorance, because you can be an ignorant fool and be wealthy and be rich off of your ignorance. We'll put you on TV, we'll put you on Fox News, we'll put you, they give our NFL players and NBA players this money at a young age, knowing they got pushed through the system. But then we get mad at them when they start speaking up, or they don't know all the information, but they're rich and they have a following. So we just suspect that they have the education or they have the knowledge and information. But it's like when you look below the lines and you see the average people that are successful, wealthy, doing well at their job, but they really not talented. They really not that gifted.
And I think that's what equality challenges. Yeah. I think the majority of the pushback, I'm so glad you brought that up. I think majority of the pushback in every industry when it comes to the American dream and Blackness is that if we admit unequivocally we have advanced because of our white privilege, we will be made a fraud. People will see and know we are not that talented and we are not that smart. Right. And that is scary.
Oh, yeah.
That's scary.
Instead, they have to grow.
Right. Instead, they want to watch us closely in silence, not really support, but stay close enough so that they can get our ideas, so that they can get our style, so that they can get our phrases, and then filter them through their oppressive system. Like, they'll hear a Black man say something catchy and it catch on. There's got to be like white folks watching Black Twitter, like ready to trademark a t-shirt.
I didn't even think about that.
Like, think about it. Like, where the money reside. He was so smart to hurry up and get his trademark. Black people, hear my voice. If you are listening to this podcast or if you're watching it on YouTube, if you have a moment that goes viral, immediately trademark it. I think you could trademark somewhere between possibly $25 and $75. I know that LLC is pretty cheap. The max, I think, on a trademark, it might be like $225, but get the money and trademark it. Because if you don't, somebody else will.
Yeah.
And yeah, Paris Hilton did That's Hot. Like, y'all gotta.
Intellectual property. I mean, intellectual property is the biggest thing that's been stolen from our community.
What's that game the kids play?
Which game? I don't
know. Fortnite.
Oh, Fortnite. What about it? I don't play it. I don't know nothing about it.
Fortnite. They do all the dances.
Oh, yeah. They did have
They were trying to get sued for the intellectual property of all these Black rappers' dances. And I don't think they could get money for it. I think there was some kind of systemic loophole, we'll call it, that allowed Fortnite to make all this money. And his little white kids just, they are, you are no longer to capitalize. You're no longer allowed to capitalize on our culture and our seasoning.
Right.
Without paying for it, recognizing us, and respecting us as human beings. Respect first.
Right. I mean, it's straight plagiarism, though, right? Like, they teach us about plagiarism in school. Oh, don't copy. But then you look at the whole, like, everything y'all have done has been plagiarized. And then you put in your laws in English, and it's like, oh, you got to have the money and the information to go get a LLC, to go get a trademark, to get a copyright. That comes from exposure. That comes from access. That comes from having people in your community that understands the power of a trademark, a LLC, and all these things. Like, our culture and our community, we weren't invited into that system. You know, like, everything stems from slavery. So you think about, how did the insurance companies start? How did the banking system start? How did all these systems start? Like, you have to have assets to be insured. Black people were assets to be insured. You know, if you have a slave and he's worth a certain amount of money, hey, I can go get a note from the bank. You know what I mean? I can get a loan. And so, but if we've never talked about these things and we've never really, you know, we're just continually perpetuating the narrative in the system day by day because we live in that environment. And so, you know, it's up to, you know, even us, you know, to kind of, you know, say that, you know, trademark your stuff, copyright your stuff, you know, we put it out there freely, you know, and it's like, oh, we'll come up with something else. We're creative beings by nature.
Man, and we're so much fun.
You know, like, we don't even care if we lose it. Like, we'll build something else.
Yeah, but that's why I encourage people, especially like as you go forward in your respective industry. And, you know, even if your industry's sports and entertainment, they really want us to be quiet, right? Like, they really want us to entertain and not say nothing. They want football players to entertain and not say nothing. They want models to just be models and not say anything. But it's like, they want to be cool with us. Like, we are so cool.
Too dope.
They want to be cool with us. So do not be afraid. You know, always find the right words to say. But even if your words don't come out just right, say something. Like, the days of us being silent and just taking anything for anything is dead. Like, the days of a Kardashian wearing braids and it being fashionable and me wearing braids is ghetto, that's dead.
100%.
That's dead. The days of them calling feed-in braids boxer braids because Kim Kardashian wore it or whoever wore it and they were going to a boxing gym, they're not called boxer braids. Please stop calling them that. They're feed-ins.
See, yeah, this is what we start doing.
Stop doing that, please.
We got to start creating courses that we could sell that they could buy.
Right.
If y'all love our culture so much, how about you buy this course? Braids 101.
Buy it.
You know, because like, that's what I've been thinking too. I had this business idea the other day, and I was like, you know, because I be living in these white suburbs, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna create a hair salon for braids. Because these white girls be putting their braids in their hair, knowing them joints will fall out, but they'll pay.
They'll slide right out, and their scalps will be itching and burning. But you should do that. I grew up the same way. I was the only Black kid in my neighborhood until about 5th grade.
Okay. See, I grew up.
And I was the only Black kid in my school.
County.
Yep.
PG County is one of the wealthiest Black suburbs in America. So that was like, I was born in Rochester, New York, upstate New York, which is like poverty, drug infested. My parents went to HBCUs. Mom went to Hampton. Dad went to Norfolk. So when they graduated, that's when we moved to Maryland, DC area. And so PG County, you're seeing nothing but Black success. You're seeing Black athletes. You're seeing,
I love that.
like, my mom was a lawyer, and chemist. My dad, or she worked for NASA for most of my adolescence. My dad always worked for the government. You see in other people's families who are entrepreneurs, business owners, judges, politicians. You see, like, you are literally in this 10 square miles of Black dopeness, right? Like, all of my friends well off, I mean, living in $500,000 houses, mansions, like, and so you get kind of like, it becomes normal. You know, you think like, oh, I'm gonna be able to find a community like this wherever I go. Well, we moved.
No, you're not.
I moved to Columbus, and I was like, oh, ain't no like. And so it'd be like, again, it was like another, like, wow, we have so much farther to go. You know what I mean? And because even most of my friends, they end up staying in that community, right? They stay in
exactly.
So they don't know. That's just their lifestyle. That's what they get used to. And then somebody like me, I move out, and then now I'm the big fish in a small pond, and like everything I'm saying is reaching, but it's not really. It's all falling on a lot of deaf ears, because even
or a bull in a china shop.
Bull in China shop.
I've been called that before. You know, you're just a bull in a China shop. I'm like, nah, we need to tear down these walls.
Yeah, and for me, like, being able to be a successful athlete and seeing how they love me, and I could do basically whatever. But then as soon as I start speaking about anything outside of sports, oh, they want to hang me. They want to put me on the cross. And it's like, bro, I'm smarter than all of y'all. For real, like the majority of y'all. You know, I've had way more well-rounded experience to even talk about a lot of this stuff. I grew up in Washington, D.C., so I grew up around politicians and all of that, and people with money, you know. So it's not just like, even the white people I grew up around were wealthy. Like, my high school was 16 bands a year to go to, you know what I mean? So, you know, the kids you're growing up around, the families that you get to see, you know, like, even the white people that talk to me, I'm like, y'all don't even got enough money to even talk to me yet, because I've been around wealthier people than y'all, for real. But, you know, it kind of puts you in that. And so for me, I've gotten involved in a lot of different things, just using my voice, talking about policy, you know, just local policy. Like, we can talk about policy, but what about all these small towns and cities that have their own city council, that have their own police system? Like Upper Arlington has its own city council. It has its own police. Well, guess what? When you pull out the police records, all the people that have been arrested or pulled over are Black, but it's an all-white community. So you mean to tell me every time a Black person comes in, that's y'all profiling, you know what I mean? But
boop, boop. Yep.
You know,
the sundown town. All that is modern day sundown town. Like, Black folks know, there's a lot of Black people in Indiana. We're not driving through Carmel at night. We're not driving through Evansville at night. We're not driving through, there's so many towns. There's another one. I can't remember where I was going. Oh my goodness, it's going to come back to my remembrance. But there's a town in Indiana I had to drive through to get to a job that I had booked through Helen Wells. And both of my parents are divorced. But they're cool with each other. Like, if they agree on something, it's going to be something about us kids.
Right.
And both of them were like, you are not driving through that town at night by yourself. They're like, bring Eddie with you. Eddie's my friend. Okay. He's like 6'6". Like, bring Eddie with you.
Need a bodyguard.
Bring Eddie. Like, literally, they're like, you're not going through that town by yourself. I had to, I got the chance to deliver a, like, real tricked out pickup truck to one of the Vikings players with a friend. She used to do marketing for, like, celebrities and these other things. So she had to deliver this truck, and we had to drive it there. And we drove from Utah to Minnesota.
Sheesh.
And she's white. And my mom was like, the only way I'm letting you deliver is if she goes with you, because you're going to go through these towns where you're going to need a pretty white girl with you. And that was the prerequisite. I was like, all right, that's cool. My mom said, you got to go with me, because I'm grown. Like, I'm about to be 32, but we are not dumb in this country.
No.
And explaining it to people who have never experienced it or lived it is a little exhausting. Like, I had to recently explain it to the CEO of this social media app that I'm working with on some things.
Mhm.
And he really had no clue. And even when I brought up like
Yeah.
slavery wasn't that long ago, like his response was, well, did you know Black people had slaves too? And I'm like, yes, I know that. But you're like, what does that have to do with like the white man's position in like all of this mess?
Yeah.
Like what does that have to do with it? He's like, oh, nothing. I'm just saying. And but that was his immediate response.
Mhm.
And he doesn't believe he has any racism or anything in his heart. He likes me,
Right. The one
but I'm
person.
an acceptable nigga to you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So look, we could go on about this thing. This is really my heart's work. Like we could really,
But these, I
but
mean, these
yeah.
are conversations that, we have to have. I mean, you and I are
Mm-hmm.
both in positions, that at the end of the day, whether we want to be leaders or not, we are.
We are. It sounds like we are.
Well, and then again, like, again, like my dad always pushed me to be a leader, but it was always in sports. It was always like, you got to be a point guard. You got to be a quarterback, right? You got to have a ball in your hands. And that's what a leader is. And I always fought him against that because I was like, I could be a leader without the ball in my hands. I lead by example, right? So if I'm a leader, like you're going to follow me regardless, whether I'm the quarterback or the point guard. So
You want to know something weird?
let me hear it.
I've always been comfortable with second place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
One of
think
my
I
old
have been
bosses
too,
used to
for the
say
most
that.
part.
Yeah, like I can consistently, because the thing is I'm consistent.
Right.
So
we don't cherish that enough. We don't consistency over, all right, you got one high here and then what happens? Most people
exactly. So there might always be somebody else in first. He used to say that. He's like, there might always be somebody else in first on these marketing numbers. But Michaela's always second. For all the years she's been here, nobody has ever taken, but there's always somebody else random in first. And there were times where I was first.
Right.
But like I was consistently at second. And that was cool. I'm like, I don't care.
You produce results. And we don't, our society has built this whole thing off of winning. You got to be first place. If you're not first place, you're last. But in no world does that stick because it's not truth. Like, and then it's an illusion of like, now people will cheat to be first, right? People will do anything to be first. Well, then, all right, you got that first place. And now what? Now you done cheated to get there. And now you can't be consistent. Or
you're first place because of your privilege.
And
when things are equal, you've been made a fraud, which is what they're scared of.
Exactly. And so that's what's happening. And I mean, I see it all the time. And I used to be that way too. Like I've always been like the cool with being like steady, because I've always consistently won. Like I've always played on teams that won. I was never the best player. Like I was not always the best player. But I was always consistent. And that went through from little league to high school to college sports. You know what I mean? Where I wasn't the best, but I made it higher than a lot of the people that were way better than me in middle school, high school, and even college now. But leading is important and we need it. And most of our people are afraid to step out there, right? We don't want to be wrong. We don't want to be, exposed, I would say. But, being a model actor, being an athlete, that puts us on a pedestal. But it also gives us responsibility to see different things. Like in this industry, you've been exposed to, all right, once you have a product, you don't have to do anything else but sell and market the product. So most of these corporations, their money isn't going to building a product. The money goes through, all right, we already have this product. Now, how do we market it and sell it to the most people for the most profit?
Exactly.
So a lot of their money is going to their marketing budget.
To me.
But listen, are you the marketing agency? Are you the ad agency that's coming up with the idea how we're going to market you as a Black woman? Are you the videographer? Are you the lighting person? Are you the makeup artist? All these different people, the consultants that get paid, thousands of dollars, the casting agents, the Carmen Dans of the world. Like there's so many different intermediaries in this marketing
and
world.
Thanks to COVID, we need to be more of those things.
Exactly. And so
just so you guys know, the models that were working during COVID could shoot their stuff themselves. Like Savage reached out to me during the pandemic and I can produce the level of content they desire myself.
Right.
So you gonna have to, even if you're resistant to becoming a jack of all trades, get the ring light, invest in the camera, Like, make your stuff, even if you're not right. Yeah, I'm on one too right now, but I can't like, I don't know.
Well, I'm using it from my phone. I got my phone on here.
Oh yeah, but make the investment, even if you're not in the beauty industry or any of these industry. How many times
now?
Right? Yeah, going forward with COVID, like these Zoom calls. How great would it set you apart from everybody else interviewing for that corporate position if your Zoom call looked like just extremely immaculate?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So invest in the pieces.
All right. Yeah, put in the work. And I think that's, what I really like about you is, I mean, one, your consistency. I mean, it's been like 2 years maybe since, when was that shoot that we did?
Are you kidding? It was way long ago. I was engaged when I met you, and that was like
3 or 4 years ago.
No, that was longer.
That?
I think I've been free from that relationship for like 5 years now.
Oh, wow. See, time escapes me. Once you have kids.
Yeah, I feel like have I been free for 5 years? I gotta go see when I got out of jail. I've been free.
You've been free. Flying like a bird.
I've been free. Yeah, no, I do remember being engaged.
Yeah, you were. I remember talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I honestly think it had to be like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it probably was. I'm a little.
Because this is 2021. Was it not 2016?
Probably. Yeah, if that was my first gig, yeah, that was probably 20. Damn.
Because think about how old your kids are. I don't think you guys had just got married.
We just got married, yeah.
I think she was pregnant. So how old is the oldest one?
He's 3 going on 4. He'll be 4 in March.
So if she was pregnant, so maybe it was 4 years ago. Because I don't think he was here yet.
He definitely wasn't born yet. Yeah,
and I don't even think she wasn't even showing yet, because I think you told us, but you're like, yeah, like she hasn't told the news yet, maybe.
Okay, yeah, so that was 4 years ago.
4 years.
So, but yeah, I mean, you've been so consistent.
Mind blown and getting older.
Oh man, I was hooping yesterday. I went to the gym and I was hooping yesterday, and one of the dudes hooping, he had on an OU shirt, and I was like, "What grade?" Or I was like, "What year you graduated?" He was like, "2018." I was like, "Damn, I graduated in 2012, nigga." Shit. Woo.
Yo, I was at the gas station the other day getting lottery tickets for my pawpaw, and I had my mask on and everything. And I got the tickets and I'm getting ready to leave out. And the lady behind the register goes, "Hey, you're over the age of 18, right?" And I was like, she's like, "Doesn't that make you feel good?" And I was like, dang. I was like for her to be like, "Doesn't that make you feel good?" I'm like, I really look like I'm about to be 32.
Wow. I feel
but
so good though.
It did make me feel good.
It should. I mean, that's the perks of having this melanin, you know what I mean?
Oh man, that was funny to me.
I still get carded most of the places I go. You know what I mean? And when I was coaching high school ball. I had all the white ladies asking me if I was a player and shit. I was like, nah, I'm coaching. Like,
yeah.
But that's part of the perks, and you see it. Like we age well, and it's a beautiful thing. But that also kind of counteracts us because you're wiser, you're older, but people look at you like you 18 or 19 still. So it's like, oh, you don't know nothing, because perception, you're young, you're youthful.
So that's another thing with the industry, right? So we get these castings and they want someone who's 30 to 35 and to play like a lawyer or like a financial advisor or a mom or something. And then there was actually a point in my career when I turned 30, I actually got into it with my agents because there were castings going out for 30-year-old Black women.
Right.
And my friends were like, "Hey, you get this casting? Hey, you get this casting?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't get it. And like, I finally went to the agent. I'm like, "Is there some kind of consensus that I don't look 30? And they're like, "Well, you don't look 30. I'm like, "But this is what a 30-year-old Black woman looks like."
Right.
Like, it's an oxymoron. I am a 30-year-old Black woman. This is what 30 and Black looks like.
Right.
So to make a majority of the population feel better, you want to take a 30-year-old and market her as an 18-year-old because y'all 18 look old. But this is what 30 and Black looks like. So send me the castings. They're like, okay. Like that's part of the problem, right? The
But
imagery you
again,
guys are putting out.
if they have all the power to be able to do that in the
Mm-hmm.
first place, and there's not a Black woman at that table saying, no,
Hold on. I was so mad.
I bet. And I
Yeah,
mean,
but that's
you're
part of
better
the
than most.
issue. Like I'm on set with with these white girls that are literally like 16 and 18, and we're playing college students.
Right.
And they're like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, "I'm 31." And they're like, "What?" And they've got crow's feet. That's your problem.
Right. That's not my problem.
Let's have some realistic imagery in this industry. Let's book people at their actual age.
Yeah.
For their actual for the actual specs you're looking for. Right. Just try it and see.
Right. And I mean, it's more authentic. It's going to come across in your products that you're marketing. Like, I feel like, I mean, it's all the illusion of which the industry has created.
It's such an illusion.
Yeah, it's an illusion.
It's such an illusion. I love it. So, not the illusion. I love the industry. Like I'm doing what I love. Well, it needs some fixing.
Yeah, you're a change maker. So that's what I really appreciate about you, and why, you know, I had you on here, because I mean, you're doing the hard work. You're doing the work that's uncomfortable to most, that you may not see some of the fruits right immediately. Think about the Black women and Black people that you're going to help going forward. I mean, even in the Midwest, I mean, the Midwest is going to change, right? Now that COVID's happening, the whole country, the world is shut down. What are we seeing? People moving from the coast are moving in. Money from the coast is moving in. And so these industries are going to start shifting. You're going to have more studios start popping up where they're going to have more, people from the Midwest using our scenery, right? The scenery of the Midwest. You still got some beautiful scenery. You still got some beautiful cities to shoot commercials and movies and things of that nature. So I think we're going to start seeing that kind of shift, maybe in the next decade or so. But you're doing this ground level work that is powerful and that isn't easy. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
And so, I wanted to give you your flowers, because obviously we don't do this stuff enough.
Thank you.
We just talk to, we got to look to the big celebrities. And it's like, no, we got people doing stuff, great work, on these levels that, when you get big, I mean, you're already doing Fenty model. Like Rihanna is I think Rihanna is a multi-billionaire.
Yeah.
And she ain't even dropped the album in a couple of years because she
Riri, we want that music.
Riri, where the music at? We know you
Where's the new music? But I think but she's one of those people as well. Like even when she did her award speech and she was like, you like us, right? Like you like our music, you like to hang out with us, pull up.
Pull up. I love when she
pull up. And so like I just really want people to feel the courage to speak out. And I've always been the Black girl with a lot of white friends because I lived in a neighborhood where I was the only Black girl and I'm friendly. So I make friends with who's around.
Right.
And to this day, those white friends, I'm still friends with a majority of them, like from growing up. And they listen to me and they can take the hard conversations and be like, hold on, look, like, but also in them doing that, like my white friends are vocal. When they're not vocal, I call them out. I ain't scared to lose no friends.
Right.
And I also encourage them though, because I know how hard it is. Like some of them become the outcasts in their family.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's a lot of shit they got.
Like the anxiety they have going in the living room, the anxiety, like we get, regular feelings about Thanksgiving and Christmas, but imagine being like the only white person in your family speaking out about Black issues and then having to eat Thanksgiving with them. Knowing you want some more seasoned food, like knowing you want to be, right? So I want to encourage like everybody who's leading the way in any of these social issues that ultimately affect every industry and every bottom line. Like we have to care about these issues as Black people, especially if you want to be a Black actor or a Black model or a Black athlete, like you need to care about social issues for Black people because you need to be living one to actually realize your dreams. You actually need to be alive.
Yeah.
And so if there are threats to you living, which there are, you should find a way to help diminish those threats.
racism was just considered a health crisis in Columbus.
Good.
A public health crisis.
Good.
So you
Because
start.
there's enough Black folks. I'm sure you grew up with like Black folks in your family. Like, nah, I ain't going to the doctor.
Oh yeah.
Like, I ain't finna be an experiment.
Yeah, I mean, this whole COVID shot thing. I'm like, y'all not gonna produce a vaccine in 4 months. Talking about some, yeah, come get your COVID shit. Like, nah, dude, nah. No, not me.
See
I will
y'all in
stay
2
at home.
years. I'm just waiting for the commercial that's like, if you or anyone you know, right, has had the COVID-19 vaccine, you may be entitled to compensation.
Oh, you know it's coming. You know it's coming. I mean, that joint is right around the corner because we don't know how this is going to impact us 5, 10, 20 years. Oh, I done grew an extra ear behind my neck. Like, like there's so many things that could go wrong, and that, we're just pushing this thing and we're pushing it for the wrong reasons. You have everybody, oh, let's get back to normal. Let's get back to work. What was normal? Like, you can't go back.
Yeah, calm down.
Like, you need to be sitting down. You need to be chilling. You need to be taking inventory of your life.
Let's get back to leaving the bathroom and not washing our hands, because I've seen a lot of people do that in my lifetime. I don't see it anymore because I don't go out like that. But part of our normal was unclean. Oh, like, yeah. Really unclean.
I mean, our whole culture is I mean, you live in desanitized like neighborhood. You look at black communities. Why are black communities typically have dirtier air, dirtier drinking water or faucet water? Usually they're closer to sanitation spots. So you got the smell of that coming in. So if you look at our communities, why do black people tend to move to suburbs and communities? Because they're not going to put their communities next to no landfill. Communities, but our communities are typically in these, just dirty areas, and it's like
so it's time for them to be gentrified.
Yeah, and that usually, brings it in. But I'll go ahead and let you off because I done had you on here for an hour and a half. You have any parting wisdom, anything that you want to share with anybody that'll hear this? Well, it could be anything. It could be the movement of
parting wisdom.
Whatever you deal with, let the people know.
Well, I guess I can speak to the aspiring actress, actor, model, or even the already signed actor, actress, or model.
Both, because I think a lot of times you could be in the industry and be complacent, or you could just, like you say, just be one thing. I'm just a model, but you've taken up photography, and you hustle at that. I mean, I know you signed up to do photos, and you understand what the industry's looking for, so industry standards. So, but I think being just a model actor is almost outdated, right? Do something else. Be a producer. Be a stylist. Be a consultant. Be a photographer. Like, add other skills so that maybe you're not getting booked right now. So, but you could be still having other revenue streams, right? Because you decided to enhance your skill set. So talk about that too.
Yeah. So I think, the photography side of things came up for me. And my photography is the Orange Portrait. So you can go to the.orange.portrait on Instagram, or theorangeportrait.com to see my work. I'm an agency photographer, so I do the new models books. I do the new actors headshots. I do virtually everybody's updates. Nice. There isn't one person that's shot with me that hasn't booked work.
What are you using to shoot? What type of camera?
I shoot on a Sony a6000. It's a mirrorless camera. I like it because it's small. It's like great for my hands. I actually got it to travel with. And I started watching Jessica Cabesi on YouTube and Jana Williams, and I studied like crazy. I took some of their technique. I brought in some of my own technique. I pay attention to ads. Like, I am the person walking through Target, taking pictures of like, taking pictures of like the outfits, like the literal, like the ad, like in the men's section, like when they have the guy layered and he's in like a green jacket, but with like a navy blue plaid shirt underneath and a white t-shirt and dark ripped jeans, but with a brown loafer. And like he's leaning forward and clapping his hands and smiling and looking over his right shoulder with his beard cut and like his hair a certain way. Like I literally notice all of those things to a fault. It's almost freaky. And I'll take pictures of that and then I save them in a folder on my phone and I'm like, male model test shoot or male model styling, just so that like when a male model comes to me and he's like, hey, I want to shoot with you, I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm sending you this whole folder of stuff I've been saving. Or this is DSW's new ad and they had a girl with braids, like you can totally do this. So like my phone's full of ads, just so like it's like I'm always fine-tuning that skill even as a model, because I'm always saving pictures of other models in current ads. I'm always fine-tuning that skill. I'm always learning a new pose. I'm always thinking about my lighting. I'm always thinking about my angles. Like even before I got signed and before I was working, like I was meticulous about my teeth, because I'll say it every time I get a chance to. I want to book Crest. So I've been meticulous about my teeth. So you just have to know, like, even if you're not in the position that you want to be in or the place that you see yourself, you just have to begin operating in that position. You have to like already be that, even if you can't be it fully.
Right. Yeah.
Pick something about it and do that daily. When I learned how to my runway walk, my uncle taught me. And he told me that every day you need to be shoulders up, back, chest out, chin forward, looking straight ahead, walking one foot in front of the other, even when you're in flip-flops, even when you're in Walmart, even when you're in tennis shoes, even going from machine to machine at the gym. He said, do it so much that it just becomes like an innate habit of how you already walk.
Right.
So when you get the chance, and this was like, he has since passed, but this was 8 or 9 years ago, he taught me this. And I started walking like that all day, every day. And people used to look at me like, are you practicing? I'm like, yeah. I walked in Fashion Week 9 years later. So that would be my piece of advice, is like, you need to start doing it now.
Because it takes time too, right? It takes, like you say, that 10 years. And that's the thing too. I think we got such a culture of immediacy that 10 years, it does kind of fly by. Like when you're doing the work and you're putting it in, you know, you're like, oh, like I'm doing all the things now. You know what I mean? I'm doing those things. I'm seeing those steps. Because the same thing was me in sports. You know, people celebrate you in sports, but it's like, yo, it took me, you know, 10 years to be this D1 athlete that you see. It took me 10 years of training every day. It took me 10 years of sacrificing, not going to parties, not hanging out with friends, missing certain things because I was putting in work here for this, you know. And so I think a lot of our culture, a lot of times we don't want to, the fear of missing out, right? You don't want to be that one friend that misses that party or misses this one thing or misses that. But then you don't realize that one thing that you could have missed, that you would have put work in over here, would have put you on another step to your goals. And that's where I see us fall short, is that we want something that we're not really willing to put the work in for, or we want something that we're really not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to miss this party, boy. Like you still my friend, but this is part of my goal, part of my dream, part of what I want, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to kind of get there and put in that time. So, man, you gave us some great wisdom.
Thank you. Yeah, one last thing to that point.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as a model, I really want the models to hear me when I say this. When I was in South Africa, because I'm signed there as well, a lot of the models go out and party. Like, it's so fun. Right. When I was in New York for Fashion Week, I was invited to all these events. And there's a few that I did go to that were networking events, a couple like pre-show things. But for the most part, I stay in the house.
Right.
Let me tell you why. One, my skin. I don't have any lines. I don't have any lines on my face. Not even sure if I'll ever develop them. But I take immaculate care of my skin. I don't smoke. I drink alkaline water. If I drink alcohol, the next day I'm activated charcoal and flushing it out of my system. I eat right, but the main thing is I don't go out a lot.
Right.
Like you might see me out for a friend's birthday, or the one time people might see me out in the year is my own birthday.
Right.
But I've always had this mindset since I decided when I was 23 that I really wanted to be a model, like a real one.
Right.
That's when I stopped going to the club because of my smile.
Right.
I just remember like times where people were drunk that had nothing to do with me. It could even like not even be my friends. And a fight break out, and a bottle get thrown, or a bar stool get thrown, or somebody starts shooting. Like I've been in places where like they start shooting. The moment I realized what I really, really wanted for myself was the moment I realized I did not belong in those spaces unless they're paying me to show up.
Right.
Which y'all definitely gonna see me showing up at some spaces when they're paying me to show up there. But the chance that my teeth could get knocked out or something, or tooth could get knocked out, or like my life could be taken, or just anything that could happen at night at a party or at a club that would have nothing to do with me, I didn't want any parts in, because I always wanted to be ready for the call in the morning.
Right.
Even if I wasn't going to get a call that next morning, I'm always anticipating a call. I burned my hand the other day cooking, and I've got like this scar that needs to finish healing. And I hand model.
Your biscuits and gravy?
You know what? Was it the biscuits and gravy? I made some vegan biscuits and gravy, and they're really fire. I really am a vegan chef.
It looked good.
I'm a legit chef. No, when did I do this?
You're a hand model too?
Yeah. So I hand model. I've done Kroger and Delta Faucet. I've done Delta a lot. And so I had to keep my hands together. I was like, when the grease popped my hand, I knew immediately. I was like, dang, that's going to be a scar. Mm-hmm. So what do I need to do? I need to leave it alone, like cool it down, put some shea butter on it, don't pick with it, and be like careful with my hands. I'm like, nobody's calling right now, but I expect somebody to call.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's all I had to say. Like, that's the exact reason why I don't go out. I'm like, ain't nobody finna throw no bar stool because they see somebody cheating and it hit me.
Right.
No. And then I can't go do what I need to do when my agent calls because I got a black eye. Right. Or because some girl got mad and she ripped my braids out. Like, I don't have time. I don't have the time.
Mm-hmm. There's so many things that could go wrong in a lot of those situations, and you have no control. And that's like, I'm the same. Like, I don't never really go out because it's like when you're around a bunch of people that have nothing going for themselves, or, they don't, you're the least of people's concerns and worries. But again, you have a career, you have, goals, dreams, aspirations. And so you have to protect yourself, and be smart.
Mm-hmm. And you might lose some friends because of it. Like, I remember being in my early 20s and losing friends because, and they get to the point where they just don't even invite you anymore.
Right.
And then that might make you feel sad. You're like, dang, I don't even get invited. But you just have to like keep things in mind, like keep your eye on the prize. Right. And even right now with COVID, like that's a whole nother thing. Like you really don't need to be at any parties or anything.
Right.
For that reason.
I'm definitely seeing people at parties and shit. I'm like,
mm-hmm.
And posting it on Instagram. I'm like,
or a party at the Capitol.
Yeah, storming the Capitol, man. And what was crazy about that though, you see like people with masks on though. I'm like, so some of y'all really got masks on, but y'all still in a super spreader event with 10,000 people.
Yo, honestly, I just want to know like what jump drives they took. Like, bro, they were at their computers. Like, that's a serious threat. Like, you guys were at their computers. Like, you cannot tell me there's no one in that whole insurrection that did not get a thumb drive with some information on it or something. Because if it was me, like, it's not going to be me. But if I was doing something like that, like, I'll be going for computer information.
They probably couldn't get into them joints, most likely. But
nah, man, they were in their offices.
Chilling. But, I mean, the people that was in the office, I mean, just think about the cumulative amount of brain cells in that 10,000.
They weren't thinking about the computers.
They was taking pictures of each other. They were live.
Yo, I'm trying to get in the system and delete my tax bill.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, we in there. We going where?
We shouldn't be paying taxes as Black people.
Well,
That's something we should talk about in reparations. Like, we shouldn't be paying taxes because there's certain groups of people that don't pay taxes. You know, you have immigrants that could come over and don't have to pay taxes. Most of these business owners is not paying taxes. That's why they started businesses. You know what I
That
mean?
would be a good way to do reparations if they don't want to just pay out checks. Like, why don't you just make us tax exempt immediately?
Mm-hmm. They need to make us tax exempt, and they need to give us dual citizenship to Africa. If you have African descent, we need to be dual citizens so we can fly.
Can they control that though, or does the nation in Africa control that?
I mean, but we've telling Africa what to do, most likely.
You
know, America.
Well, if that's the case, I want to be a citizen in Ghana.
Yeah, me too. So, but
Ghana,
these are conversations we don't think about. But I'm like, you know, most likely they won't want to give us reparations in cash. We could force them to, but
give me mine in Bitcoin.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to do that. But they should. But yeah, I mean, our whole system is just screwed. And like Black people, I mean, to think that we still have $1 billion or $1 trillion in buying power as the Black community, you know, means that we still have wealth coming in because we work for it. But think about how much money we would have if we actually got, you know, what was due to us. You know, that's why they don't want to pay us, because then you wouldn't have to go work for them organizations if you ain't want to.
Yeah. You know? Well, my last name, to close it out, Duerson, actually means son of tobacco worker.
Oh, wow.
So the tobacco industry owes my family billions.
Oh,
yeah, Duerson is German. It actually means son of tobacco worker.
Tobacco workers, wow.
I don't even get to be the tobacco worker. I'm the son of one.
Well, and just think of how our names, right? How our names have carried that weight of slavery. You know, like I'm a Moore, Moore, and it's like, you know, like that isn't our original name. That is our original culture. So all these things that have been stolen from us.
Y'all's master's last name was Moore.
Yes, ma'am. You know, just seeing that, you know, understanding that, but as the masses, we don't make that connection. We don't relate it to, and like you said,
and you'd be surprised, a lot of white people, they don't know this information. They're like, whoa, wait, what?
Because they've been taught the history too, that everything is in their favor. So they don't have to learn any other thing other than what they know or what they've been told as truth. So then if I come to you and say, everything that you've learned is false or a figment of the truth, now you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, damn, my whole life is a lie. My whole being is a lie. My job and my position is a lie. You know, like, oh, white people are not afraid to be like, oh, like nepotism. Like they know that they got their job because of nepotism, and they will smile about it. They'll be happy about it. And it's like, you know, but what did you really, you know, even getting into college, you know?
Yep. When I got into college, I was so mad when I learned that Christopher Columbus raped people. Right. I remember being extremely angry and feeling like, why did you guys make me sing songs about this man? I grew up singing Christopher Columbus in 1842 or 1742 or whenever it was, sailed the ocean blue. Like whatever that freaking song was. I remember being so mad.
Yeah.
That the first thing I learned at a collegiate level in history is that he was raping women.
Yeah, it was raping too.
Why do we get the day off for this guy?
Right. Like, why are y'all celebrating this man?
I was so upset.
That's crazy. Well, I think this was a great conversation.
Me too. We ended on a somber Christopher Columbus note.
We're gonna pull it back though. We're gonna have the discussion. The next one gonna be, we're gonna talk about all of it.
Man, I'm going in. Yeah, but in the meantime, everybody listening, everybody watching, be encouraged. If you're a model or actor or aspiring or photographer, and you have questions, I shoot on a Sony. My social media is Michaela Duerson. It's Michael with an A, and then Duerson. And that's where you can find me. I will answer questions. And yeah, be great.
Love, man. Like,
you know what? I can't remember my Twitter password. I do have a Twitter account. I cannot remember the password.
You gotta forgot my password hacking that joke.
I don't remember the email address it's attached to.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna make sure that we get this up. I'll probably post it on YouTube, and then I'll rip the audio and put it on my personal. So I'll give you the links and stuff. If you want, send me a bio, a little short bio or whatever. No.
You know what? You can do the bio because you introduced me as a leader, so I feel like you see me in a way I haven't seen myself yet. So whatever you write is cool. Just the only thing that needs to really be in the bio is I'm from Chicago.
All right, Chi-Town.
Chi-Town.
What part of Chicago are you from?
I grew up in the burbs. So because my uncle played for the Bears players are really not allowed to live downtown. And so my uncle and them, they lived in Highland Park, and then we lived just like 15 minutes away in Gurnee.
Okay. And when I was training for the league, I trained in Deer Park.
Mm-hmm.
Because I trained with some of the Bears, Devin Hester, Matt Forte. But that's where
Devin. I love Devin. So Devin lived, he lived in Gurnee as well. Okay. And he lived in my best friend's neighborhood. So he lived like maybe 5 minutes from where I lived. We lived in the same neighborhood as the offensive coach.
Okay, dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we were the only Black people till like 5th grade. And then another Black family moved in, the Sangsters. But like the fact that I know what other Black family, there's a gated community, and there was at least, 200-300 houses in that community.
Oh yeah.
But like I know it's us and the Sangsters, like we the Black folks in this neighborhood.
Wow. And we have so much further to go.
We do. But it's cool. You'll keep being articulate for a Black man. I'll keep being pretty for a Black girl. And we'll take the world by storm.
Got it. We the millennial change,
Yeah.
We the change. So it's encouraging to have people like you, women like you doing what you're doing. I'm sure you're inspiring tons. I mean, you inspire me, and I'm a Black man. So I'm sure you're inspiring tons of Black young girls and Black women out there. Keep doing what you're doing. And I want to give you, that confidence just to keep going. I see you, but I know every time, especially on social media, people don't like to tell people thanks or give them love. So I wanted to show you love. And
thank you. I'm finally getting over the fact of people not showing love.
Yeah. So I mean, it's tough. I mean, we need it. We're human beings, right? I mean, we want to know what we're doing is impactful or helping, I think. So a lot of times if people don't do that, it's like, don't just follow me. You know what I mean? Like, engage, right? Like, so I don't know if the algorithm in Instagram does that, or no,
they see it. They see it because after I made a post, and after that I've had some private conversations again. They see it.
Oh, I know. And because I'll watch the story and I'm like, yo, y'all, I see it. But that engagement, and I think some of that fear, but also we're different, right? We're actors, we're models, we're used to engaging with people in different situations.
We've been forced to be introverts for a whole year.
Yeah.
Like
I'm an introvert for real. Like I'm an introvert, but football and sports kind of made me that kind of. And so like
you're an extroverted introvert.
Yeah. Like I don't rock with a lot of people. Like if I could be in the house by myself all the time, I would be like.
Yeah. I love spending time with myself. Like I love me.
Yeah.
But we're networkers.
Right. Yeah.
And so networking has just looked and felt so different.
Yeah. So that's why, this whole Zoom thing, I'm trying to get better. I got like a list of 20 people I got to interview now because people on my Facebook, I just put a general call out there. I'm like, I want to hear stories, man. I want to have conversations. And, if you got a business, if you got an idea, let's talk about it. If you want to talk about racism.
So your degree in school, were you journalism too?
No, my degree was healthcare administration.
Okay then, boss.
Yeah. So my goal, my thought process was I was thinking about pharmaceutical sales. And so
where the money reside.
Yeah, so coming from, success, I was like, I got to go to the money. So healthcare, I knew I will never not have a job if I wanted to work in healthcare. So I knew that. But then once I started with football and I started seeing all the drugs that they were giving us, I started seeing just how the industry worked. I started to understand sales and all that. I was like, I can't be a part of this industry. You know what I mean? Because, you're making a lot of money as a sales rep, but you're literally the cause of the opioid epidemic. So yeah, you driving a nice car because you got to travel from doctor's office to doctor's office, but you're literally perpetuating the system of, this opioid thing. And being in college, playing sports, they give you those things like it's nothing. Like, oh, my shoulder hurt. You got a doctor there that could write you a script. You got a trainer that could write you a script. They don't care. Like, oh, we'll give you, the oxycodone. And then everybody's always having surgery. So if you got a lineman or a D-back that's getting a rotator cuff surgery every other day, they're getting, the prescription pills. Well, a lot of the black guys were, more of the skill positions than the white kids were, the linemen. Well, the white guys would take all the pills. The black dudes was like, I just smoke weed, right? But weed,
right.
You know what I mean? So you got the running chance of getting drug tested and all these things. But a lot of the black players would sell their opioids to the white guys. You know what I mean? So now you got drug deals going on within the football locker room. I've already lost, I think, two teammates to opioid overdoses, since we graduated. So for me, it was just like, I saw the holistic part of healthcare, and then I just knew that the healthcare system was messed up, like even hospitals, right? And emergency rooms, and how it just, you look at the history of how they treated black people, black women in healthcare. So, most of these healthcare places are for-profit businesses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the CEO doesn't give a damn about, the people. He's caring about his bottom line, and he's making his millions. And so I just couldn't participate. But now that weed's legal, I use my healthcare degree in that aspect. So I've been studying healthcare.
Good for you.
Cannabis, and I started Athletes in Cannabis as a way to, have conversations with athletes, because a lot of the athletes have been demonized for smoking weed. And then let's say you work your whole life to be a Division I athlete, and you get drug tested and you fail a weed test. Now the coaches is looking at you like a weed head. You know what I mean? But we don't, obviously they couldn't research it, but weed is helping with PTSD, all these different issues. And then, so, just trying to bring light and awareness to it. But yeah, I saw the money in healthcare, and I was like, that's the one degree I knew that it was going to be easy. I didn't have to do math. I didn't want to do math. I ended up having to do it anyway, though, because I got a business minor.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll definitely keep chopping it up. I appreciate
for sure.
Doing your thing. Keep going. If there's anything I can do to help you, let me know, and we'll just keep it up.
Yeah, this was fun. I definitely love to come back. We'll see what the year brings, and prayerfully there'll be more really cool successes to talk about.
You said you're working on an app?
Oh no, I'm working. I've met with the CEO. He owns an app. He's they're doing something kind of like this. Like they're gonna be interviewing me and some things like that. But it's an app called. Oh, I don't want to say the name of the app because I said he's still trying to wrap his mind around racism. So I don't want to put him out there. We're working on him. Okay. He believes he has a good. I don't think that he's racist. I think he's just, there's some undoing. Like that needs to be undone for all of us.
We got to educate people too, and that's a part of the whole racism thing. Like, that's why I say we have to start charging. We have to start creating courses and making white people buy courses on.
Oh, like, yeah. Oh, so story about that. I got a course on that. Buy my ebook, $5.99.
You know what I mean? You want?
No, that's smart. That's a good idea.
Because I'm at the point now where I'm not talking to white people about their racism. Like, I'm not educating you. Like, thank you for educating me. No. Go read a fucking book. Like, go watch a movie. Like,
yeah, I'm not at that point yet. I still got grace for it. I don't know if my grace will run out, but I still got some grace for it.
The reason I don't have grace for it is because I was in that white community where I'm like, all of y'all are 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. And you're telling this little black boy, oh, thank you for being so patient with us. Thank you for... And so for me, I'm like, I can't do it anymore, because they're going to kill me. Like, they don't want to hear what I really got to say. And when I say it, it's not going, like, I don't have that grace anymore to just be like, yo, like, I'm not saying it with no, like, finesse in it. Like, no, it's coming out of my mouth how it come out of my mouth at this point. Because the reason we've moved so slow is that reason. We've allowed that shit. they kill Martin Luther King.
I knew he was about to say that. I knew
Everybody shut the fuck up. Oh, they killed him.
he was about to say that.
And so, you know, the FBI could say happy birthday to Martin Luther King knowing what the fuck they did. How fucked up is that?
Yeah, they suffocated him.
You know, so for me, it's like, and he was 39 when he was killed. I'm 31. Like, when you put stuff in perspective, and they killed him once he started talking about economics. It stopped. Once he wasn't talking about, you know, protesting peacefully. It was about America owes black people reparations. These are the numbers. These are the stats. Oh, this nigga is getting too smart. He's going to influence the rest of them. Bop, you know, so. But no, we have to start being the writers of books. McGraw-Hill is based in Columbus, Ohio. So I've been actually, you touched on that, I've been looking at McGraw-Hill for a minute because I pass their headquarters all the time. I'm like, I'm gonna definitely reach out to them because I remember reading tons of McGraw-Hill books as a kid.
I'm telling you, all my books growing up said McGraw-Hill, and I got to a point where I'm like, who's writing this stuff?
Yeah, so, you know, we just gotta, you know, we gotta take that approach too of being, you know, the academics and the educators and buy this ebook for $5.99 and understand this, you know. So white people will read. Like I got a good group of white people that I've met, and I'm like, you know, they're doing the work. You know what I mean? So, you know, they got their book clubs, and you know, they follow.
They're trying.
You know,
I do believe more white people are trying than are not trying. I think they're trying.
Yeah, they're definitely trying, and so you know, I have grace in that respect. That, you know, they have a whole, like you say, being a white person at the Thanksgiving table or Christmas.
I'm telling you, don't nobody like being an outcast.
They're dealing with some shit too. So
they're like, do I want to be an outcast at this dinner, or do I want this green bean casserole? And they really like, I want some fried chicken that's done right, but I gotta eat this green bean casserole, so I don't want to be an outcast today.
I can't disrespect Mom Dukes with the raisins and the what's in it.
Yes. Or like, my phone might die, but one of my friends, God bless her, her parents, her mom and her stepdad, she saw them in insurrection videos. They posted on their Facebook Live. She turned them into the FBI. Wow. So I got white friends that's getting it in, but that's hard. Your mom, my mom don't always say and do the right thing. I don't know if I would turn her in.
That's your mom's though. So,
that's my mom.
Yeah.
She was like, nope. And I was like, bruh, I thank you for being an ally. That's a lot. Like, you didn't. I don't know if the black community be like, girl, go turn in your mama. Like, but you know, like, there's always that kind of joke like between like white kids and how they talk to their moms and how we talk to our moms. So.
They wild.
Get out of my freaking room, you idiot. Like, whoa, bro.
Calling their mom by their first name and shit.
Yeah, I want to go to the skate park. No, but for real, no, yeah, they're really trying. So we've tried to get off the phone with each other like 3 times now.
Well, it's up to people like you and I that we sit in that gray space, right? I mean, you grew up around a lot of white people, right? A lot of white folks.
We're the acceptable Negroes.
We're the acceptable Negroes. We are that buffer between the ratchet, the hood, and white America at its finest.
They just don't know. Well, that's one of my goals, actually. One of my goals of 2021 is to completely stop code switching, which is actually kind of hard to do because I've been doing it all my life as a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely, I don't want to code switch in any area. Yeah. Like I want to find my voice, like the true register of my voice, and stay there.
Stay there. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, we're gonna end on that because I think that's powerful. End of code switching in 2021. We don't need to do that.
It's a defense mechanism. We can do it.
We could do it. Well, I appreciate you. Keep doing your thing. Keep being awesome. Keep being great. Let us know if you have any dope things coming up in the pipeline. Tell Riri, get that album out. We need it. For the culture.
I pretty much just talk to the social media interns, but when I meet Rihanna, I will tell her.
Hey, it's coming. We're gonna put that energy out there.
It's out there. Well, thank you, Gerald. I had a great time.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate all your insight. Love you. We'll holler at you.
Love you. Bye.